Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 1 Point Safety Show with me, Scott, and my co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you doing this week, Scouse? What should I even ask?
Yeah, it's meh is the word, meh, or mid. Yeah.
I like
Bang
that. I
average,
like
mate,
that.
bang average. How are you?
Yeah, okay. Off work, weirdly enough, because I had this week booked off because we were going to go to the Dallas game, but obviously that being a dead
Yeah.
rubber, I left my leave in from work, so I just thought, no, I'll have that time off and have a bit
Fair
of a
play.
chill. Well, we've stewed on it since the weekend, since Sunday's game. We are here to review the game of the Browns and go through our usual segments. So if you're listening and watching on YouTube, thanks very much again for subscribing. Our numbers again were about where we are really average. We had just over 70 plays this week, so we've done well again. So
Yeah, take
thank you
that.
for all
Yeah,
thank you
thanks,
for all
guys.
your support out there. Really appreciate it. All of our details on where you can find us on whatever platforms you listen to for this podcast are at the end of the show. So we've got to get to it. 24-10 loss to the Browns, and the Commanders' playoff hopes are up in smoke because of a Green Bay win. I'll go to you first then, Scouse. What were your thoughts on the overall on the game? You're saying nothing.
Do I
Which
really
is
want to
quite
say anything?
interesting.
Do I really want to
Yeah,
say anything
come
here?
on,
Because
let it out, vent it
this is
out.
an absolute, because it was a disgrace, man. It really was. It really was a disgrace, and the players didn't play with any heart. And normally you always say to these guys, the professional, that they'll play to their 100% maximum every game, but that game they didn't. You know, I just think it was bad from start to finish. I think Ron really messed himself up by starting Wentz in the first place. We mentioned it. So, if you take Taylor out, you're losing that kind of motivation for the rest of the team. And I think that came to fruition this game, and Von got punished for it. But the biggest thing there is how he didn't know that he could be eliminated if we lost.
That
What
was
an absolute idiot.
just I just, I
To be
was
fair, he should be
flabbergasted.
fired just for that. He should be fired just for that. Never
Yeah.
mind anything else, how bad he's been with player acquisition or whatever. He should be fired. He should be fired. He should be fired today, yesterday. You know what I mean? This guy's and take Buddy Scott Turner with him.
Yeah,
Absolute
I
joke, mate.
think
Play calling was awful. Offensive line again, crap. I watched some film yesterday. Shout out to Big Tim Sports team, Big Tim Sports. He does a good breakdown of it all, and we were watching it, and I was like, mate, this offensive line, mate, is fucking shite. It
it's
really is
awful.
shite.
Really,
There's
really
some
bad.
bits where you think that's not bad. Some good plays. Think, yeah, great. Why aren't you doing that every game, every snap? Why aren't you doing it the right way every time? Why are we so inconsistent? Now, is it because they're injured? Maybe, or is it just they're just shit and they forget what actual play it was? For example, you see like some zone runs to the right, for example, and then all of a sudden you see Noel running left. Like, what are you doing, bro? Do you know what I mean? The whole offensive line runs right with him. Do you see what I mean? So it's just, and Noel did that so many times, to be fair. And Cosme had a few of them as well. I was thinking, wait, mate, this isn't good, man. This isn't good.
Well, for anyone who is listening, we'll run the stat line anyway. We'll go out from there. Carson Wentz, 16 of 28, 143 yards, 3 interceptions, 1 rushing TD, and a passer rating of 31.4. Now, the thing that got me when I watched it and I was absolutely fuming was 2 of the plays, really. Was one where he threw a ball out on a slant, a side pass, basically, effectively 4 yards, and couldn't make the pass to Curtis Samuel. It just dropped in on the floor, and I was like, "What is this?"
To the floor, like
yes,
it fell out of his hand. Do you mean that one?
Yeah. Me and you could have actually completed that pass.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it was ridiculous.
To be fair, I think Migran could have done a better job than 32 QBR.
I know, and then the fourth down and 1 where he decided to call a play, a swing pass out to Williams when Brian Robinson was halfway on the field and got called back. and you saw him get
that's all
caught
on
back.
Scott, mate. That's all on Scott.
I know
Absolute fucking
it is.
idiot, man.
And I just thought, what
I understand he's banged up.
there?
I can understand he's banged up because that's the reason why he's not playing every snap. I get that, okay. But 4th and 1, I don't care how injured you are. All you got to do is just stand there and get the guys to push you forward, even if you can't do it yourself.
And the thing that pissed me off even more with that
is zone shit again.
Yep. And the thing that annoyed, well, I say pissed me off, it annoyed me more than anything was we then went on, an 11-minute drive, 21 plays, and Carson Wentz leaped over on 4th down from a yard. Why can't you do that on the 4th down? Yeah. Why can't you do that on the 4th down?
Well, he could, but guess what? Scott Turner said no to that, obviously. Do you see what I mean?
So they bring in...
It's all well and good.
I know. Another one no, you're right, mate. Another one that we're fuming tonight. Can you not tell that we're both
still not over it? Hell no.
Yeah, I don't think I am either. I've let it simmer, but I'm not over this at all, and I won't be for quite a long time. Another one that annoyed me was they brought in Brissett on 4th and 1, knowing they're going to sneak. Every man and his dog,
it's pretty
everyone
obvious,
in the stadium, everyone around the world knew they're going to sneak, and they still got it. Like, come on, what are we doing here? It was as if, it was like, what are we trying to do here? To try and get things going. There was just, as you said, there was just no effort. There was nothing there. We looked like a team that didn't want to win. And what annoyed me more was I watched Red Zone afterwards, and the 3 teams that needed to win in Seattle, the Lions and Green Bay absolutely went out and did what they needed to do. And how flat was it when you look at Watson's stat line? He's 9 of 18, 169 yards, but he's still got 3 touchdowns. Really? I mean, Amari Cooper was basically begging us to just push him out of bounds. He looked like he didn't want to be there.
He killed us,
and then
man.
it was that open. It was like, well, you want me to score? Okay, I'll score, no problem. Kendall Fuller again,
got burned,
as I said last night, on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, if David Mayer was any slower, he'd get a parking ticket. I mean, honestly, just
there's so many bad things that we could talk about in this, and we could be here for hours because that's how bad it actually was. We could just pick right through it right now. I mean, there's so much you could talk about. The one of the biggest things that was what killed me off is, okay, Cam Curl is an excellent safety. Don't get me wrong, but our secondary should be better than what they're producing when he's not in the game.
It should not fall apart by one player being injured.
And what would he say when Cam was in? Oh, Fuller's looking like the old Fuller. He's good. He's got the spring in his step. What happens when Cam's out? Burnt toast, mate. Burnt fucking toast.
He was.
And it's awful, man. The team is just not good enough. And I think one of the biggest things that no one's even mentioned, I don't think, in any podcast that I've listened to recently, was John Allen got hurt.
Yeah.
And that's when Chubb really took off after he went down. He killed us. I think he averaged something like 8.5 yards a carry or something that he ended up having. It was ridiculous.
I mean,
they were cutting us up, man.
There was a few positives that I can take from the game, and one was obviously Deron Payne, 2 sacks. I thought F.A. Abada actually had a good game, even though he couldn't couldn't make them tackles. You've got the sack.
What's he doing?
You've got the sack. Don't let him go.
He stops. He fucking stops and walks off.
Come on, F.A.
The play must be over. No, it's not, mate. You're driving to the ground, bro. Mate, that was it. I know he's your boy, but
he is my boy. But yeah, I know.
It's just you can't do that. He did that twice, not just once.
He did. And then you've got weirdly enough, David Mayo got a sack. Sweat got a sack, and Tuhill got a sack as well. So we can take that out of there and go from there. I mean, it's just we've got to move on from this and just put this one to bed. But moreover, I think we'll discuss it in a second. On where we feel the coaching staff are and how we move forward as a team. But first off, obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with the Buffalo Bills organization and Damar Hamlin and all of his family. It's great news, as you just told me before we started, because I hadn't seen the news. So do you have a latest on that at all, Scouse, on how his condition is?
He's alert. He's still on a tube. He's still in ICU. But when he first woke up, that he could communicate perfectly with him, as in with writing. So the first thing he said was, did he win the game? That was the first question he asked when he wrote on the form, and everyone was like, "Oh, mate, you know." So so that's a great sign to show that his brain's still there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So fantastic news from that side of things. I think now for him, it's just more about his breathing and can he breathe on his own or not. But mine's there, which is brilliant. You know, so
exactly, exactly, and very, very, very pleasing news, and fantastic work by all of the doctors in Cincinnati and the work of the medical teams, both on the field as well. You know,
but fuck the NFL, one of them, we're trying to make them play on. No, that was out of
that's
order.
outrageous. Yeah, and if that was true, and to be honest, we know what the Shield's like. They'll try and wheel their way out of this and row back as soon as possible. But fair play to
deniability and all that.
Fair play to Sean McDermott and the coaching staff of both teams to say we're not playing this game. You know, that's and it's hard for T. Higgins as well, I suppose, when you look at it.
It must be awful. He did nothing wrong. He did his normal job. He got tackled fair. I mean, and it wasn't like he lowered his helmet. He didn't like lay the boom. No, it was Hamlin who actually laid the boom to him, really.
Yeah.
And he just caught and he hit him shoulder into his chest, and that was it. You know, it's such a freak accident.
It is, and we've seen it in professional sport. I've seen it in rugby, and we've seen it in football as well firsthand with Christian Eriksen and Fabrice Mwamba, people like that.
But they actually had heart conditions that we didn't know about, though.
Well, we don't know if that's the case. Well,
for this one's like true blunt force trauma to his chest. That's what everyone's saying. It's some sort of fancy Latin name. I can't remember what it's called now.
I can't remember either.
Called something cordis. Cordis. I'll get it up now. But basically what it is that you tend to see it in baseball, and you tend to see it in hockey, like ice hockey, because obviously the puck can hit you in the chest. Or
the baseball they've got that trip that bit you can put around the middle, can't you?
I think so, and I think but they have that. So I think that's where most of the injuries like that happen, because it's blunt force trauma right to the heart if it hits it in the right place. You know what I mean? And it's got to hit you in the perfect part of the T wave as well, as you're going up, and the electrics of the heart pumping. It's like, and then you got to hit it exactly on that millisecond when it's going on the up wave, and
just a complete
shut your heart down. Yeah,
just a totally complete utter freak accident.
So rare,
and I'm glad he's doing well. You know, that's the main thing, isn't it? So prayers up to him and his family. So we'll try and move on from that. It's difficult to move on from that because this is the biggest topic in the NFL at the moment. But we'll move forward because we know you want to listen to what our thoughts are on the Commanders. So, what's your thoughts then, Scouse, on how do you feel about this coaching staff? We're 3 years under the regime of Ron. For me, he's a lame duck, and so is the entire coaching staff. I do think we'll see him back next season because the ownership change is still going through, and I don't see that coming through very quickly. Obviously, if we can get a sale before the Super Bowl and everything's done,
good luck with that.
I know, but likelihood is that this will all be ratified in March. The Snyders have sold or are selling their homes at the moment around DC. I did see that Dan had put down his primary address as London, which is just bizarre.
I didn't even know he had a home there, to be fair.
Maybe he's hiding at Burrow's spare room, who knows? But
that's what I thought. I thought he was living with him. I thought that.
Maybe. Shout out to Burrows, by the way. But no.
You got a shed at the back of you.
He's got a tent in his garden.
What it is.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, I don't think the sale's going to go through. So we will most likely see Ron Rivera back for next season. The coordinators may be a different story, but again, it's down to money. And do you want to pay out a coaching staff a few million quid when you've just signed Scott Turner on a 3-year extension at the beginning of this season? That's the issue we have there. We all know what the problem is. It isn't Jack Del Rio right now. And as we've both said on here, I eat humble pie. I wanted rid of him on week 5, especially with his comments in the off season. And then it looked like he was a bit clueless for the first few weeks. Jeff Skinninas came in and done an amazing job taking over from Sam Mills. And the defense has worked. So you can't give anything but praise to Jack Del Rio at the moment for the way the defense is performing, and that's evident through Pro Bowl votes. And we haven't seen
last week.
I know. It's been poor for a few weeks now because of the soft shell and zone defense that we go into when it seems like there's
And
something on the line.
That's on Del Boy, isn't it? Do you know what
It
I mean?
is.
So
But he would be probably the only.
There's definitely blame, but he's safe in my mind. He's safe.
I think he would be the only one who would be safe out of all of them. For me, I think we need to move on from Rom now.
I mean, how about this? How about this for just to spin something there? What happens? Say, for example, Dan Snyder decides to go. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna fire them, but keeps Del Rio in charge as head coach.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
I don't mind. I don't mind it, because as long as we get to the answer of what we all want, which is we know that he's going to sell, and if he sells, that's fine. If he doesn't sell and he decides somewhere down the line, well, actually, I'm not going to sell, and Del Rio's in charge, then it's down to what the product is on the field. Del Rio's been a head coach before, you know, with the Raiders. I think at Jacksonville as well. So if he's given a chance to take on the head job, then okay, so be it. It's keeping it in-house, which obviously fans don't want to see. But as I said before,
look at the Derek Carr kind of thing with him as well.
That's what I mean.
When Del Rio was head coach, Derek Carr was MVP level player. You know,
well, so I think we'll probably get onto that in a minute.
Before he broke his leg, anyway.
You know. Around quarterback, I think we'll probably get onto that in a minute. But do you think then that this coaching staff's safe, or what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, to be fair, I totally agree with what you've been saying. So, you know, do I want them gone? Yes.
So do I. Yeah.
But it's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen until the sale. And even then, it all depends when the sale is.
True.
If it's too late, if it's too close to the draft time, like a couple of weeks before, that's too late for the new guys to come in, to bring his whole staff, all the scouts that he wants to bring in. That is, you know, that's a big overhaul. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, and you have to think here as well, Scouts. If you're running your own business, you're going to bring in your own people. So the front office will be gone in its entirety. There'll be the Martys will be gone.
It just depends who takes over, and does he trust them? Does he trust the Martys, or does he trust Ron, or does he trust his name top of my head now?
Jason, right?
Yeah, Jason, that's the one. You know, does he trust those guys? And that's where that first year of kind of, you know, if it is a sale that's later and you'll keep these guys for one more year, and he'll evaluate them and go, yeah, I actually like what he does, or no, I don't like it. See what I mean? And then cut.
Yeah, and that's why I can see
that. That's why I can see it.
That's what happened when Dan took over. Jim Zorn was fired, but he gave Jim Zorn a year, didn't he? So, or was North? Sorry, it was North Turner. My apologies. He gave North a year to before he was given the shepherd's crook. And I think that'll be the same for this regime. Quarterback, obviously, massive. We're going into the off-season again, looking at the draft. We've got serious problems. I put in our WhatsApp group a list of every quarterback that has been in the Commanders since we last won a Super Bowl. I think
it's about as long as my arm.
Yeah, Sam Howell will be the 34th starting quarterback, which is just, it baffles me. We're at 3.
91.
We've had 3 every season for the past 3 seasons. I mean, it's just, and the run that we've been on, I mean, under Ron Rivera in the last 2 years, we're 0-7 in December. Probably going to be 0-8.
That is the money month, I call it. It's the money month.
It's where you make your money.
You need to be winning right there in December. Fucking the first few weeks. Great if you can have a great start, but you don't need to. You've got to win in December. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And we were told, the run game, we're going to play everything off the run game, which is exactly what winning football teams do in December, because normally the weather's shit. Do you know what I mean? In most places that they go to. So if you can run the ball well in the ridiculous cold or the hail, sleet, snow, you've got a chance. No, not us. Because our offensive line's an absolute disgrace. It's like fucking Swiss cheese, bro.
The Swiss cheese model, I used that.
The Swiss cheese model, fucking big holes, man, big holes everywhere.
I mean, What can we do? We'll move on.
It's painful, man. It's painful.
It is painful. It is painful. I mean, what would you do with quarterback now? I think because of the way we're going to pick, I mean, we can get in the top 10 if things go our way this week. But I think at the moment we're picking 15th, or 14th at the moment. on the current terms of where we are. And I don't think we're going to look at a quarterback. I mean, I don't trust Ron Rivera and the staff to pick a quarterback. Being perfectly honest with you, they cannot pick a quarterback, and they're not going to be here long enough, in my opinion, to harness his talent, to bring him on, to develop the guy. It's just not going to happen.
I think I mentioned previously, I don't know if on this pod or another pod I've been on recently, that these guys have not developed any quarterback in their whole careers.
None of them, no.
Ron Rivera's been around 15 years as a head coach, and probably and a couple of like linebackers coach, stuff like that before he became a head coach. He's not actually developed one quarterback from a rookie all the way up until like he's legendary. You could say Cam Newton, the first one he had.
Pick.
He was the first overall pick. Yeah. And don't forget, look how up and down Ron Rivera's winning record was over those kind of 5-6 years when you'd say prime Cam. Do you know what I mean? So he had like a 7-9, the usual 7-9, 7-9, and then all of a sudden he had like a 15-1. Like you think, bloody hell! But that was the season when he got to the Super Bowl and he lost.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But that was the season where Cam was just unbelievable. Like, he was unplayable. But that
MVP
wasn't because
that year, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it wasn't because of how good Ron Rivera was. He did it because that's how good he actually is as a player. He won this fight.
And I think that's the model he's trying to use. They had a two-headed monster in running back when they got to the Super Bowl.
D'Angelo Williams and some other dude. And then I can't remember.
They had an unbelievable run to get there with a great quarterback. And I honestly think he thought he was like a running back, was he? Let's face it, he was an absolute beast. He was, yeah. He was a beast. But again, we're in this quandary of we're going into the draft, we're looking around, we're looking at quarterbacks. I had a look at Derek Carr's stats because he's been mentioned, he's been talked about. Now I know
he hasn't been bad this year. No, he hasn't been bad.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to say here. He's the fastest quarterback to get through 40,000 yards in NFL history. He's had 6 offensive coordinators. He's had 3 head coaches in his time at the Raiders. So he's learned 6 different offenses. So clearly he's quite an intelligent bloke to learn, the nuances of 6 different playbooks. Can he learn the
disgraceful Scott Turner playbook, though?
Well, we don't know.
Every quarterback has been struggling with that, man. Fitzpatrick struggled.
Yeah. Alex Smith
struggled. Alex Smith struggled. These guys are bright dudes as well, man. Yeah. These are number 1 picks. You know what I mean? And
Fitz went to Harvard.
Yeah, he went to Harvard. And even he said it was a hard system to learn. And that's how stupid Scott Turner is. Let's make it so complicated that my own quarterback can't understand it. He's a total fucking idiot, man.
And we're sitting here expecting the likes of Heineke, who does know the system over time, and a rookie to understand this playbook.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the reason why they say, "Oh, Howard's not ready." Yeah, he's not ready because your fucking system is shocking. It's ridiculously complicated. The verbiage is unreal in it. Like, what are you doing?
You look at a system like, I'm going to take Kyle Shanahan as an example, but you look at his system over at San Francisco. It's a quarterback's dream just to sit in because it's made for a quarterback. The same could be said with Sean McVay. It's made and easy to drop in.
The way Shanahan does it, he goes, I don't need a quarterback. I don't need an elite quarterback. I just need a game manager. That's all he needs. And that's all these guys he's got is.
But that's the same system.
I don't see much about him.
It's the same system in LA. It's the same system in Green Bay. And funnily enough, where were all 3 of them? Oh, yeah, they were with us. So clearly it's that Shanahan model system that they're using.
It works.
It
works. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I know they put their own flavours on it, their own twists, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, Shanahan has built a team that, as I said before, you don't need a game manager, you don't need a world class, you don't need a Mahomes in that team.
Do you think we're in the sweepstakes? Do you think we're in the sweepstakes for Derek Carr? Would you look to him, or who do you see coming in for the season?
Well, it depends really for me, because we've got a quandary here with Taylor Heineke as well. Would you want him as your backup quarterback? Hell yeah, you would. You would want him as your backup quarterback. Why? Because you know he's good for 4 or 5 games where you can win games when your main quarterback's out. But the problem is there's going to be loads of teams after him.
Yeah,
people think there's going to be no. People think there's going to be no thing for him. Oh, he'll sign for us for like $5 million a year. No, mate. No, look, there was 65 starting quarterbacks this year. 65.
That's unreal.
That's because of injuries, or that's because of don't like you anymore. I was going to play the other guy. Do you know what I mean? Those type of things. 65, mate. So if you've got a top draw backup, that's money. Do you know what I mean? So you can get you some wins, especially while your main guy's out. I mean, someone like Miami would love him because Chu is always out for.
Well, they've got Skylar Thompson starting this weekend,
he's not Taylor Haneke. Do you know what I mean? Taylor Haneke's better than him.
Brock Purdy's starting, Mr. Irrelevant. You know what I mean? And you're right. You're absolutely right with seeing 65 QB starting. I mean, I seen his spot rack. I seen Spot Rack say, "What's the market value for Taylor Heineke?" And every website,
20 mil, wasn't it?
Yeah, 19.5 mil. I mean, we are not paying.
Oh, we're not going to pay that, no. And I can't see anybody else paying that, but I can definitely see 12 mil. 12 mil. Yeah, I can see 12 million there per year.
And I don't think I'd want to pay that for someone like Taylor Heineke.
And that's the thing, and that's the problem you've got here is that, say you do re-sign him as the backup again, just like this season. But let's face it, all the players love him. What happens if you don't love the new guys coming in? You don't like, once you don't like Howell, for example, maybe you don't like him the way he is. If you got then, you got to go back to Taylor Heineke again, which is obviously, it's a bad situation for us to be in if we have to bring him in to start just because our team won't bloody play without him. Do you see what I mean?
So we're going to have most likely we'll have Jake Fromm on the practice squad or third dressed quarterback. We'll definitely have Howell still still on his rookie contract.
Yeah.
And another. Now I think he could shake out
100% cut. He's 100% cut. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Already.
I wouldn't be surprised if Taylor Heineke did go and land somewhere else. I think that's probably most likely.
I mean, let's face it, he's smart with this Howell thing as well. Ron was going to play Heineke.
Yeah.
And then Heineke just went, no, give it to the Rook, But he's also thinking, I don't want to get hurt. I've got a big, massive, fucking big contract coming up here.
I've got a big off-season coming, yeah.
I don't want Parsons smoking me. Do you know what I mean? So I would do exactly the same thing, but just spin it like, oh, yeah, it's all about development for Howell and all that. No, mate, I just don't want to get banged up.
Great teammate, great leader in the locker room, all that stuff. That's going to come out. His agent's already been making phone calls 100% if he's anything worth his money.
Of course.
Yeah, I think
he's getting 10, 12 mil per year.
I think we might end up with someone, I don't know.
For me, it's like, it depends where we draft and there's anybody for. So, and
I don't think there will
be. Very highly unlikely that the
CJ Strouds of the world,
or the Bryce Youngs are going to drop to 10. It ain't going to happen.
No.
But I mean, Will Levis is something that people talk about, and he has got a good arm. But he does flatter to deceive as well at times as well. So
Richardson's the one at Florida who's a development guy.
He's the same thing. If you're going for a first round quarterback, you expect him to be your starter, not straight away, and just go with the lumps. The problem is that our team isn't designed for that at the moment because it's like, well, we've got vets in the team.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got some youngsters, but we got most of our big guys are getting paid big dollar. They want to win now. See what I mean? They want to win. They don't want to wait around for a new rock to say, I don't mind waiting another couple of years. No. These guys want to win now. Like John Allen wants to win now. Payne wants to win now. Sweat. These guys don't want to fuck around anymore. So if you want to try and persuade Payne to sign for us again, you're gonna have to sell him on a quarterback. I know who'd you go with? If those two aren't really there, I'm not going to pick Levis at 10. There's no chance. I might drop down. I mean, I might go back a little bit, and maybe if you definitely 100% want a QB, do that. I would, but personally, I'd rather go for another elite position, like cornerback, for example, or tackle.
Yeah, cornerback or tackle. That's where we know. That's what
I'll do first round personally, and go for somebody like Carr. Like Carr's going to have. He's just going to have suitors. He's going to have suitors as well. But we can, if we can show up the O-line and have him come along, the pieces are here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So as a quarterback, you're thinking, this could make me look awesome because I'm gonna have these receivers.
Yep.
I've got the Dotsons. I've got these big meaty tight ends as well. Turner's would be a quarterback's dream.
It's a young core as well. It's a young core of tight ends.
They're young,
that's the other thing as well.
And there's only one guy with 1 year left on his deal. All the others have got long-term deals.
Yeah, I mean,
there's only Samuel.
Yeah. And I was looking at Gibson. I was looking at this earlier, and we were talking about it earlier, and we were looking at contracts and stuff. And for me, I think you have to get 5 new O linemen in the off season. I think that's pertinent. I mean, you're going to keep Cosme. We're going to see what the new tackle or guard is like. Is it Paul? Is that his surname? We're going to see.
Yeah,
what,
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. We're going to see him this week. He's finally going to dress.
I finally want to see these dudes. I want to see what they've got, even if they're not 100% ready. Have you got something that you can build on with them? That's all I'm looking for. Have they got the traits that you can go, yeah, okay, that's all right. Oh, yeah, he made a few mistakes, yeah, sure, but okay, has he got it? Has he got it? What it takes, and will he get better? Now they will know better than we because they see them every week, every day. Yeah. Now we only seen a one-off game, which that's why you can't read into it too much. But as long as you can see the fundamentals are doing well with, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Same with Howell actually. You know, if he just does the basics right. The cadence is right, in the huddle right, all those type of things, the way the poise, those type of things. That's all I'm after. I mean, great if you can throw a 50-yard bomb down the sideline, but it doesn't really bother me that against Dallas this week. It's all about kind of, okay, what's he actually got? Can he command those guys who are a lot older than him? Will they respond to him? That's the kind of shit I want to see. And that's why I'm happy that they actually are going to play him. And Paul actually as well.
I am too. So, on the news front, then, we've obviously talked a bit about Hal, which we've already discussed there. The only other real bit of news that we've got is we've got a new mascot, and I'm not going to dwell time on this. Really, for the kids, Major Tuddy. Don't know why he's not a commander, but
yeah, should be Commander Tuddy or Major Disappointment. That's what it should be.
Major Disappointment. I like that.
That's us, man. That's our team, our franchise in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe that's a better mascot. Major Disappointment. There you go. And on that front, there's not a lot else on the news really. So I think I'm going to hand this over to you now, and we're going to go into my favourite segment of the week, which is Scouse's Sizzle.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there's so much I can talk about. To be fair, I know we've already mentioned quite a lot already, but but for me, the biggest problems here is the coaches. Before, I was always saying, Ron's all right. He'll, defending him to a certain extent because I've got loads of respect for him. I do. Great man, great human, but he makes poor choices on the football field and around his team. He trusts guys that just aren't good enough. That's my biggest problem with Ron more than anything. But obviously the Scott Turner thing. I know every week I'll go on about him, but he doesn't improve. He doesn't change anything. He's fucking awful. I mean, it's just like just get rid of him. I mean, Dan, I'll drive him somewhere. Wherever you want to fucking drive him, I'll drive him. I'll take a flight and fucking drive him. That's how bad I want Scott Turner out this club. His schemes are shit. They're very confusing for players. That's why you've probably seen so many guys doing the wrong thing. And running the wrong route, or as I mentioned before about Norwell running the wrong way, thinking that it's run to the left when it's actually run to the right. You see what I mean? Stuff like that. It's basic stuff, but actually, I reckon his scheme and his verbiage and all that shit is actually really confusing for players. And I think that makes them look worse. It makes them look worse than what they actually are. And when you're a coordinator, when you're a leader of supposed men, you're meant to make them better, not make them worse. And this is what he does. He makes guys look bad. He makes Terry look bad. He makes these top players look fucking bang average. He doesn't change. His protection schemes are fucking awful. I mean, I watched one of the things where, do you know that 4th and 1 you mentioned before about the little toss play out to the side? Well, guess who was blocking Myles Garrett?
Saw that. It was Curtis Samuel. Yeah,
Curtis Samuel, a fucking wide receiver against one of the elite pass rushers in the league. Yeah. And you double team that motherfucker every fucking play.
Well, we spoke about it
with a fucking wide receiver.
We spoke about it before. Double teaming Myles Garrett. That was one of our keys to victory.
And it never happened. I don't think I ever saw it all game.
We're 5,000 miles away.
Trying to run away from him.
We're 5,000 miles away sitting on a podcast, and we know what needs to happen, and he can't get that done.
Yeah. And then his other amazing thing was a wide receiver. Oh, and then he might throw a tight end next to it.
Yeah.
These guys are not. These guys aren't designed to actually fucking block, like elite guys. They're just to get in the way. You know what I mean? That's what they're there for, to stop, like, maybe the cornerback doing a corner blitz or a safety coming through. That's what they're there for. They're not there to fucking block Myles Garrett and elite and Clowney and fucking elite rushes, Thibodeau, and you can name all of them, Parsons.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And that's on Scott Turner. He doesn't let his quarterback audible. He doesn't let his quarterback actually change the protections. What the fuck is he like? There's no point actually having a fucking quarterback in the team. They must have got Scott Turner in there and see what he can do. Fucking idiot.
Scouts, you are hot tonight. So yeah. But to be honest with you, mate, I could not agree more with you. I want this man gone. I've had enough of him. Ron Rivera is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. As you said, respect the dude for what he did to come in here, for what he's gone through, for taking the pressure away from the team. But he doesn't seem to have a clue either. He'll just sit arms folded on the sideline thinking everything's okay. Well, it isn't. You are the head coach as well. You need to change it up and tell Scott, what are you doing? What are you calling here? The fans are chanting Heineke's name after two series. And the crowd is, it was loud. You could hear it on the broadcast. It was loud. Yeah.
And what does he do? Nah, I'll just play on. I'll fucking play on.
I'll stick with Wentz.
Well, yeah, some people said, before they started Wentz, Ron's been obviously listening to some fans or some people because that's the reason why he's starting Wentz. He needs to spark, all that shit. No. So if he has been listening to people, like, some fans, some people, whoever, first of all, that's poor head coaching. And if he truly believed in Wentz, he would have been back in the team earlier. Let's face it. Because he lost the team.
He could have came in in the bye week quite easily.
I mean, you could say, well, if you brought him in then when we were winning bits, we lose the team. He lost the team this week. He's on to a loser there all the time. So you should just kept Heineke in the fucking beginning. Just let him roll with it and see we get in or did we not get in? I know 28 million is 28 million, but at the end of the day, it's not his money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'd have been like, mate. But
I think you're right. Coaching is the biggest issue in this.
The biggest issue
right now.
We have got some holes, of course. We're not the ultimate elite team, but we have got some serious skill position weapons, especially on offense. We've got some good players on defense.
Elite players,
but there is some holes. Elite D line, elite safety in Cam.
Well, and Forrest, I'd say that's your safety.
I wouldn't say he's elite.
For the next 5 years.
I wouldn't say he was elite because
but
when Cam went out, he looked like he was like fucking back to his rookie season, man. He looked fucking shite. He looked shite this week, man. I know he made one tackle. He made one good tackle in the whole game. I mean, that's not good enough, man. When you've got no Cam.
I would give him that one because no one looked good, really, apart from the front to the interior.
We down tools.
We did.
We down tools throughout the whole team. And that's on Ron. He's meant to be the motivator.
Mm-hmm.
And if it isn't on Ron to motivate them, it's on Scott Turner, especially offense. It's on Scott Turner. It's on Del Rio. But obviously these guys aren't doing it.
Yep,
they're not. They're not getting through to me. Either the players aren't respecting these guys, or what? I don't know. But it's not good enough. It's just not good enough anymore. I've always been a big fan of Del Rio, especially when he was younger. In the league, big fan of him then. He just plays too soft. He plays too soft. He doesn't give enough time for our D linemen to actually sack their quarterback either. Unless you get instant straight through, we're not touching their quarterback. I mean, Daniel Jones never got touched at all when we played him.
It's true. Yeah, you're absolutely onto a winner there.
Yeah, because you played shite.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because again, it's the inability to cover positions and understand roster build-ups as well. And everyone says, the roster's pretty good, and the depth is there. And I'm like, well,
the first team's good.
Two seasons now, we've known we need linebacking help. And who do we sign? John Bostic and David Mayo back to the team. Now, they're both on the injury report this week. Sorry,
Hopefully they're both out.
Well, David Mayer's on the injury report, and John Bostic's on IR. But even so, it's as soon as Jamin Davis is gone, what have we got left? There's nothing there. These two guys were both linebackers. You surely would be able to spot someone who plays your position.
And the thing is, as well, is like this is another thing what really pisses off about this week's game. You're looking at the 4-man front that we did on D-line. Why didn't we just fucking put 5 in there? Just put Ridgway in there with them. Yeah, and fuck off Mayo. And just have one linebacker. That's what we do anyway, most of the time. So all of a sudden, why aren't we doing that when we actually really needed to? Because Chubb was running on us. It's just in game tactics. They haven't got it, man. They just haven't got it. Adjustments they call it, but really
adjustments. It's tactics, yeah. But I know what you mean. There's none. There isn't none. There isn't any. It's always either halftime, too late, or it doesn't think. See, Taylor Heineke was pulled quite straightforwardly and easy enough in the San Francisco game because one interception, one fumble that really wasn't his fault. But, we look at that and think, right, he's gone. He's been hooked. Why wasn't Wentz hooked? 100%. Second interception goes in. Why is Wentz not hooked? Ask yourself that. And this is trusting from Ron Rivera. He's too trusting, and he'll die on that sword and he'll die on that hill because he trusts guys to do their job. And unfortunately, the guys he's trusting to do the jobs aren't doing the jobs.
Not good enough.
So then, Scouse, it's Dallas week, and it's the most deflating Dallas week we've ever had, I think, to be honest with you. No one in the Twitter sphere or anyone connected with the Washington Commanders, Redskins, football team, whatever you want to call it, normally this would be an unbelievable week. We'd be all hyped up, ready to go, but it's flat. It's an absolute flat game. It's a dead rubber. Obviously, the Cowboys have got quite a lot to play for. We've got nothing to play for. We've already said that we're likely to see second, third stringers in playing to see what we've got in the team. People like Wild Goose, Paul, Howell, they're all going to play. I'll go through the quick injury report we've got here. So we've got Jonathan Allen did not practice this is for today's injury report as well. Hasn't practiced the last 2 days with the knee. Sadiq Charles, concussion, hasn't played. He's still in the concussion protocol.
And that was actually, we didn't even see that hit because that was actually in practice.
Well, the concussion. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was.
And it must be pretty bad. It's been on for like 3 weeks with that now.
A bit longer, actually, maybe a month. Yeah, but even longer. So he hasn't practiced again, still in that protocol. Cameron Curl, ankle, did not practice last 2 games. Linebacker Jamin Davis, knee, did not practice last 2 games. Antonio Gibson, knee, stroke, foot, didn't practice. Cornelius Lucas, ankle, did not practice. Norwell, hip, did not practice. Brian Robinson, knee, did not practice.
Pretty banged up then, aren't we?
Yeah. James Smith-Williams, concussion, in the concussion protocol, again, did not practice. Benjamin St. Juice, ankle, did not practice. And another one here for the last 2 days is Montez Sweat, illness, did not practice. So we are absolutely bare bones, I think, at the moment, which does not look good.
But that's the thing, you see, it's like I would be obviously worried if this game meant something to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys, as you mentioned, most of them probably won't even play. Those DMPs normally on a Thursday usually translates to you're not playing unless it's an illness. So Sweat might play, but the other guys I can't see them playing at all. So so for me it's like I know you're letting your quarterback go there and get killed because that's what's going to happen because Dallas's first team D's is going to hammer our offensive line, bro. It's going to hammer it. It's not even going to be funny. It's going to be like, oh my god, I hope you don't hurt Hal permanently. That's how much I'm thinking about. Like I want us to lose the game now. Very rare, very very rare that you'll see me want us to lose a game, but it's going to be better for us in draft pick. So I mean, there's nothing to gain really from winning this game this week besides stopping Dallas. Maybe having the number 1 seed. It won't happen anyway. We'll go through the permutations in a sec, but it's not.
So from the Dallas side, then we've got Biadis, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's the center. He's been out with an ankle, did not practice. Kelvin Joseph, cornerback, has got a tooth issue, did not practice. I know, yeah. Maybe he's come to see me. Demarcus Lawrence. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, he's got a bad tooth. Demarcus Lawrence, defensive end, foot. He was limited. Tony Pollard has had a thigh issue and he was full. And Leighton Van Der Esch, middle linebacker for them, has had a neck injury for the last couple of weeks. He was a full participant in practice as well. So
he's the guy who wears that big
big's the weird
back,
big brace at the back, which have just I think he had back surgery a few years back, and that's or quite severe neck.
Remember Chris Samuels?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
on the offensive line, he had one of them as well.
So maybe that's why he wears
that. He had a bad neck as well. He had to retire because of his neck. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, thoughts on the game, as you just said.
Thoughts on those guys there. Most of those guys are going to play. Even Lawrence will play. He's always on the injury report and he always plays. So I'm not too. These guys are just going to absolutely destroy our offense. I just hope that Scott completes actually calls a game that will actually help his quarterback out. But I can't see it because he's not done it all season. So why would he change now? It doesn't make any sense for them.
Agreed, and I think he was asked questions in the week or yesterday in one of the pressers, and they asked him what was his thoughts on his job security, and he basically said, "Well, it is what it is, and I'll find out on Monday." But the way he came across with it, he actually didn't sound. Yeah, well, it wasn't. He wasn't bothered. He didn't sound like he particularly wanted to be here. So I don't know if there's more to that. And that this is, where Ron's going to go in the offseason.
For some strange reason, people are headhunting him for possible head coaching jobs this year. The guy's a fucking idiot, man. He will destroy your. He will just whoever's looking at him. Don't get him, because he will destroy your fucking team, your franchise, because he's a bell end and doesn't listen to anyone. So just don't do it. And to be fair, from a Washington point of view, come and get him because we'll let him go. Because you don't let them go, don't you?
You don't then pay the contracts off then.
So for us, come and take him off our hands.
Yeah, that would be probably the best of both worlds. So predictions for the game and Scouts. Do I have to really go there?
Mate, it's hammer time. It's absolutely hammer time. This is going to be, we'll be lucky to get 10 points.
Yeah.
We'll be lucky. And they'll probably get at least 30. At least. I'm thinking, I'm going to say 34-10.
34-10 was kind of where I was. I was looking kind of there. I was like 34-13, something like that. That's probably where I think we'll get to. It's going to be a bit of a beatdown. But let's keep it under 50, boys, eh? So we'll move on to the game of the week, and our game of the week this week is going to be the Detroit Lions going to Green Bay. The most on the line in the NFC. Both teams at 8-8. Both teams won last week to keep their playoff hopes alive. Lions going to Green Bay, NFC North rivalry as well. So big playoff implications on the line here. What are your thoughts on this game and how these permutations come out? What's your thoughts, Scouse?
I think Lions. No, I'm going for the Packers. I'm going for the Packers. They're at home. It's going to be bloody freezing there. You got Rodgers. Yes, okay, they haven't got a great team around them, but he finds a way to get it done. And even though I love what Detroit are doing, the coached very well. They got Dan Campbell's a great head coach, and all the staff as well. They've made them really believe into what they're doing, and the players have responded, and they're only getting better. Next season, they're going to be a force next season, Detroit. This season, though, I do think that I called it against Carolina. They lost there, didn't I? You know what I mean? And I think they're going to lose again. I do. I think they're going to lose again. I think it'd be tight, but I do think Green Bay will take it.
Yeah, I think it'll be tighter than we think it's going to be. But I think Green Bay squeaked this win out at home. I agree with you completely. Going from an indoor team to a freezing cold road team, in Green Bay up at Lambeau. For me, I don't think either of these teams get in the playoffs, though. I think Green Bay will be 9-8.
The Hawks are going to take it.
But I think the Seahawks will get that last spot. They're currently in the 7th seed, playing at home to the Rams. Rams aren't the best. They haven't had a really good season at all. It's quite a long way to go.
But that's in division game. That's what you call family business.
I know.
These normally, I know, but forget us and Dallas. But normally, in division games are normally tighter than what you think, and you always see the upsets. That's when you tend to see the upsets. I don't rate the Seahawks, to be honest.
I don't
rate
either.
them. I don't rate them. They're not really a good team. I don't think they're as good as us, even though they've got a better record. I still think they're as good as us, and they're coached better than we are. That's the same about talent-wise. We're talent. I think our talent's better than theirs, like man for man. But they're the ones in the playoff game, and we're not. But I think McVay goes, fuck this. I'm not having Seahawks going in there and trying to do something in the playoffs. If we're not going, you're not going.
Baker Mayfield's played quite well for them, to be fair, since he's come in.
Okay.
So he's done okay. So I think the Rams might be onto something then. You think Green Bay? You think Green Bay are getting that 7th seed then? Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think Green Bay are going to make it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what about? We'll talk briefly about the top seed, the number 1 seed. In the NFC, could go down to any of 4 teams here. So the most likely at the moment are the Philadelphia Eagles, who've got the Giants at home. Giants going into Philadelphia, and if the Eagles get it done, then they are the number 1 seed. Don't know if Gardner Minshew's going to be quarterback or if it's going to be Jalen Hurts this week. They're talking about Jalen Hurts being back.
Again, if you're smart, you stick with Minshew. Why bring Hurts back into the team when you just need to play? They're already, you can say you can guarantee first place. But to be fair, you can. I know Minshew. I know, and the Eagles still lost the last 2 games because of. But again, Minshew puts points up, so
he does.
So I don't know. So for me, I wouldn't be bringing Hurts back for this game because it's not.
So you think you rely on that Philadelphia defense then, would you, to win you the game? Or
yeah,
I mean they've got weapons. They've got weapons on the outside.
Yeah, so I mean Devontae Smith is destroying players with Minshew. He's using them a lot more than AJ Brown.
AJ Brown's not a daft receiver, is he? Really?
They've got quality dudes.
They have
throughout, and I think we said at the start. They're probably the most complete team. Every element of their team is loaded with quality.
The other team in the hunt for that first seed is the San Francisco 49ers. They need a Giants win, and I can't remember who the 49ers are playing this weekend. We did look at it earlier, but yeah, they've got a chance of becoming the number 1 seed as well. And then the Dallas have got an absolute
gimme.
They've got a gimme game. They've got a chance of becoming the number 1 seed, but they're going to struggle to get cards. The Cardinals, is it? Oof.
That's an easy win for the 49ers.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is too.
Colt McCoy under center.
It's not. It's the one. It's not Colt McCoy.
That third stringer again.
Yeah. It's the third
it's even worse.
Again.
I mean that. Yeah.
David Blau, I think he's called, isn't it?
Blau.
Yeah. Is it Blau?
Don't remember that.
I'll have to look at it, to be honest with you. But yeah,
to be fair, either way, that's shit. Are
you going Philly for the number 1 seed then?
Yeah, I can't see them losing to the Giants, to be fair. I would like it. I would like them to lose at number 1 seed just to stick a finger up at them because they've been such bellends all season. So the fans, the players, they've all been just total knobheads. So for me, I would love it. I would love it if 49ers took it. But I just can't see it. I can't see the Giants playing their first team out either. Because there's no need, because they're guaranteed 6th spot in the playoffs. And
there's talk in that there's talk of the Giants, but we were talking about before we started the show that Saquon Barkley's not playing for the Giants, and neither will Daniel Jones. Looks like they're going with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. So yeah,
I knew it running back Breeder. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
These guys are not going to be, destroying Philly's teams. Let's put it that way. Especially with Philly, I've got a little something on the line in the game. So yeah, they're going to get beat. They're going to get beat badly, I think, as well. So all this is really going to be there.
So we were talking just before we set off to record today, and we will be back next week to review, obviously, the Cowboys game. And thereafter, we're probably going to come back the week after that to do a bit of a debrief, look at all the 53-man roster as a whole, and look at each individual team and each individual core of players that we've got, assess them, give a bit of a score of the season, how we roll, what's going on, because we're going to obviously comment, I think, quite heavily on Monday, when we've got Black Monday coming in the NFL. So we'll know what's happened with, if anything is shaped out with Washington or elsewhere in the league. That would be quite interesting. And we'll be back over the summer. We may take a break when there's nothing to talk about. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in, listening, watching. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can catch us, obviously, on Twitter. We're ScouseAndy20 and ScottyH84. And our actual, if you've got any questions or you've got anything that you'd like us to add, or you want to review, or you want anything to say, we are at the 1 Point Safety 4 on Twitter as well. You can catch us on there. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening. And from me, let's hope for a win against the Cowboys. Always hope for a win against the Cowboys.
Ain't gonna happen, man. Ain't gonna happen.
We'll see. So this depressing Thursday's over. Thanks for your time as always, Scouse. Appreciate you being on here with me, buddy. And until next time, take care, everyone.
Bye.